Welcome to RyLee's Roost. People tell me they have quite a hoot, and there's just no way of knowing who will stop on by and say hi. Well, every morning when the sun comes up, you'll find me with my coffee cup, heading out back, guitar all tuned up. I got another idea to be made up in a song in the shack in the back.
Well, welcome to RyLee's Roost. I'm Rylee Madison here in the shack in the back. And joining me today is my good friend Codie Prevost. How's it going, Codie?
It's going great. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming to my little, roost in the backyard.
It's incredible. It reminds me, I built a cabin when I was about 16 years old back home in Saskatchewan. And it reminds me of being back home. So it's great to be here.
Well, living in Nashville for like 8 years now, it was important to me to have my own little space.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is what I came up with.
This
Took
is
a shed,
incredible.
Turned it into a writing shack.
Lots of history in here too.
We've been having a lot of fun in here.
Yeah, it's
So
great.
Tell me where you're from. How long have you been doing music?
I grew up in Archwell, Saskatchewan. It's small town. It's about 300 people. Basically, my mom owned the small town bar. She still does own the small town bar there, and my dad farms. So I grew up on a farm just outside of town. Yeah. And I started playing music when I was about 14 years old. So it's been about 15 years now that I've been playing for. And I basically got encouraged by watching my mom and my uncle play around campfires and at family reunions. And I'll never forget, seeing them play, just pick up a guitar and start singing. And they only knew about 3 chords between the two of them, but together they could play about 20 songs. And I just remember the joy it would bring to people.
Oh, that's fun.
Sitting around, I was watching and I thought, that's pretty cool that they can, just with an instrument and a voice, they can bring joy to people and make them feel something.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I could do something with my life one day like that, that's what I would love to do. And
Absolutely.
And that's what I went for after I graduated.
When did you start your journey to Nashville, and what do you do when you're here?
Well, it's an interesting story. I always had a dream of coming to Nashville, but I wasn't sure how I was going to make that dream come true. It's not every day someone in Archwell wants to become a singer and, tour around.
Small town of 300 people.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Nashville.
So when I graduated from high school, I knew that this was my goal and I knew that I wanted to make it happen. I just wasn't sure how I was going to do it. So my dad talked me into going to college for a year. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I took out the book for college and picked the thing that took the least amount of time to get, but paid the most money. And I actually became an electronics technician. Okay. It was a 1-year course. But through that year of college, I met a guy named Al LeBlanc.
Right.
And he was
Al's
working.
a huge part of your life.
Yes. And Al was working in a studio in a small town called Elsham, Saskatchewan. Okay. And so Al's like, I'm working in the studio. They had built this studio for a guy who had been in a car accident named Rory. Mm-hmm. And he had become a quadriplegic and he was a musician his whole life. And so they built him this studio in this small town that he could run with his eyes. So it was just incredible. Wow. But Al was helping him out there. And bringing in bands, setting up the mic, setting up the gear, and then Rory would run the studio with his eyes.
Wow.
And it was
That's fascinating.
It's something that I had never seen before. Mm-hmm. And so I started working there, and every month I'd go back and Al and I started writing songs together. And it was a couple months after this started, then I asked him if he'd be interested in booking me some shows. I told him my goals of how I want to, pursue music and how I thought I needed to start playing to do that. Yeah. So he said, well, learn 30 songs and I'll book you some shows and take a month and learn those 30 songs right now. So he calls me a week later and he's like, are you ready to play? And I was like, well, what do you mean? He says, well, I've got you a show booked for next weekend. So there I was. I showed up with my music stand and my 30 songs printed off of cowboy lyrics. Funny. And that's how I started playing, and nobody could say no because I was charging $100 and I'd play a full night of music in the bar, and they'd sell 5 beer and pay for the band that night. But it was such a great experience, just me and my guitar, getting out there in front of people. Mm-hmm. That's, what I mean, to any artist starting out. I just encourage you to get out there and just, even if it's just you and your guitar, just pick it up, get out there and play in front of as many people as possible.
Well, thank you so much, Codie, for coming and hanging out in the shack in the back. And
anytime.
It's always good to see you. And
you as well.
I'll be seeing you again soon, I'm sure, and looking forward to writing with you again, too.
Awesome. Thank you, Rylee.
All right. Thanks for watching us here at the shack in the back at RyLee's Roost in Nashville, Tennessee.
1, 2, 3, 4. Days a week, 40 hours, I'm on my best behavior. Friday night, 5
more than kissing, but it's all good, all good in the neighborhood. Yeah, yeah, with a house full of party, speakers full of music, boys full of whiskey, girls about to lose it. Everybody's rocking, the whole place is shaking. Right now we're getting all kinds of crazy. Yeah, this road down ain't gonna slow down. Lose control now. Here we go now, with a house full of party, speakers full of music,